You do not want civil war. You do not want the unrest. People don't understand how bad it really can get. They think it's like movies. Right. People think war is this faraway land, and they need to look at what happened in Aleppo when a normal city.
What's Aleppo?
Honestly, I don't know. Yeah, Gary. This city, the photos from Aleppo. It is funny that this is. It is kind of funny that this is a great example of this, and Gary Johnson didn't know.
Yeah. Everybody.
But just to clarify, the photos of Aleppo, of this beautiful town, normal shopping district, cars and fountains, and then you do a side-by-side, and it's rubble and ash.
Can I? Sorry, go ahead, Phil, please.
Well, just the people that talk about, wanting that kind of conflict here, they need to understand that what it'll look like is cartel violence in Mexico. That's what it would look like. It wouldn't look like North and South. That's what people think of when you hear like phrases like civil war and stuff like that. They think that it would be,
but
somehow they'd be insulated.
Wasn't particularly nice either.
No, it wasn't at all. 100%. And I don't mean to minimize that, but it'll look like, it'll look like cartel violence. It'll look like you find out that your cousin, his body was found in a landfill, brutally tortured.
So one of the reasons I wrote my last book, The White Pill, which is about the story of the rise and fall of the Soviet Union, is I'm very disturbed, and I'm sure everyone here agrees, with the fact that war victories are glorified, but when you have a war victory that's peaceful, it's kind of like, that was kind of cool. Yeah. And it's like, isn't it better that the Cold War ended peacefully?
Absolutely.
And everyone kind of went home and things didn't work out that well for Russia, as opposed to like invasions, thousands of civilians killed, people made orphans, dismembered, maimed, and so forth, like World War I and World War II. And I thought it was just very sad that story isn't told, and this happened within, our lifetimes. I also, to your other point, it's just, I know a lot of guys who are veterans. Everyone here, I'm sure, does as well. And they do not ever think this stuff is like, more war.
Yeah.
I had Meghan McCain on my show, obviously John McCain's daughter. She's as hawkish as you get. And she's like, and she's besties with Tulsi now. And she says, I've changed my opinion on war. Even though she still supports, what's going on in Israel and Ukraine. I go, what do you mean? She goes, because my brothers have all deployed. And now they're like the most anti-war people ever. And they're like, they'll do anything to avoid war. She goes, when I hear from them, she's like, I know this means something. And when you talk to all of us who talk to veterans, when they talk about people they've killed, they're not like, hell yeah. Like some of them are, maybe that's a bit of like pride. But then on some level, everyone who talks about this, it's not easy on just an animal level.
I've been told it's disrespectful to bring up in the presence.
Depending on who.
And again, I'm not a veteran. I don't know.
I grew up next to a military base, so I saw a lot of people who were deployed and come back, and the majority of them don't come back the same. Like they're psychologically messed up. I knew, there's suicides and drinking, drugs, and all this stuff. Obviously, some come back and they can
PTSD.
live in the real life.
Mm-hmm.
They can manage
Let's
it sort
look
of
at it this
balanced
way.
life.
Do you think you would be fine if you had to just kill rabid dogs?
Right.
No.
Like, the dog has to be put down. It's not a human being. It's going to do a number on you.
Bro,
absolutely.
let me tell you about Brother Malice. We had when we have critters on the property.
Yeah.
It's like the local laws require. My understanding is that if there's a raccoon on the property, it has to be put down because of their rabies vector. How many people actually want? You know what? Let's not even go there. How many people actually wanted to kill and slaughter the chickens to eat them?
Right.
It's remarkable to me how very few people don't even want to do that.
Right.
Now, I got to be honest. I'd have no problem going to a farm and saying, I got one of my chickens from Chicken City. It is food.
Sure.
We joke around about them, but they're there for a reason. Largely, they're not broilers or layers, so we don't really eat them. But we did eat the roosters. But I'll eat an animal. I'll deal with that. I don't think, I think a lot of people, especially these young leftists, they haven't lost anybody. A lot of them haven't. When I was younger, I had a few people in my neighborhood who died. And when I was a teenager, and it was a crazy feeling, like that dude is just gone. Mm-hmm. Just doesn't exist anymore. But I think most young people don't experience this. And then what was really, really crazy to me was, as I started getting older, as most people already know, and who are older than me, people start dying more and more and more.
I asked Roseanne about that in this show. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's not fun.
Hearing on Facebook that a guy that I used to skateboard with died, and we don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
He just died suddenly one night on Thanksgiving. Went to bed and didn't wake up. And it's like, that dude's just gone.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a lot of younger people who have experienced less death. And then I think for the older people who tend to be more experienced dealing with conflict crisis, this is why I think a lot of the young leftists are so gung-ho on violence. They're, for one, the young guys are either bored, faithless, or full of testosterone, and they haven't seen it. And then when they get older and they watch a bullet fly through the head of their best friend while they're at war, it changes their perspective on things when they come home.
And leftists in America were rewarded for their violence just a few years ago.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.